Steve, you hairy weirdo, what the hell are you talking about? It does help if I unmute the microphone. Yeah, that kind of went wrong.
Welcome to Hairy Steve's workshop.
Hello, it's Hairy Steve back in the workshop, and today I'm going to show you how to make things look rusty. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, Steve, you hairy weirdo, what the hell are you talking about? If you want to make something rusty, just leave it outside in the rain for a couple of days. Well, the problem with that is that a lot of the parts on this model that I'm making are either made of stainless steel or aluminium, not aluminum. But anyway, stainless steel and aluminium don't rust, so I'm going to have to get creative. So the other day, I got a bit creative with the bulldozer blade, and I think I've done a fairly good job on it. I've chipped up the paints on the ends where it would get scratched. The main blade is all sort of gnarly and rusty. A few people have said that there should be a polished bit, sort of the bottom half should be polished up where it would be shoveling dirt and stuff around, and yeah, it probably would, but I'm going to let it do that by itself as I use it. If it doesn't, then I might just sort of take a bit of wire wool or a Scotch-Brite pad to it or something like that and just sort of speed the process up a bit. But the paint's quite thin and it's gone straight onto basically polished metal, so it's not going to stick very well, so it should flake off and chip off and wear off quite easily. I've now been working on some parts for the two-jaw grab, which are these wear plates which go on the bottom edge of the jaws, and they come out of the factory in a kind of a grey shot blasted finish, same as this. So they're basically a sort of a matte grey colour. So what I've done is I've sanded it back to bare metal. This is the second one, and this is the first one. So I've already done this one. So in this video I'm going to show you my technique for making this look like this. So let's get on with it. Okay, you are going to need an old knackered paintbrush, a small round paintbrush, a sort of fairly largish flat paintbrush, a pigment brush, an old toothbrush, some MIG number 44 chipping, enamel thinners, enamel track wash, track rust pigment, medium rust pigment, streaking rust effects enamel wash, and light rust enamel wash. So, first thing you want to do is get some of the MIG 44 acrylic paint, stick it in a palette, and use the old knackered brush to stipple a layer all over the part. Right, I've switched over to workbench view. I've zoomed in, so it should still be relatively high resolution. This is the one I've already done, so this is what we're hoping to end up with, and this is the bare metal part that's starting with. So let's move that out of the way. Get my palette in. This is the first time I've done a workbench view, as it were, so it might work, it might not, I don't know. Hopefully it does. But you should be able to see a bit better what I'm doing. And it helps that I'm right-handed as well. So with this part, you just want to get a bit of paint and just kind of stipple it on. It's quite warm today, so it'll dry fairly quickly. But stippling it on will give it a bit of texture as well. But you don't want to go too thick with it. So when you get some on the brush, you sort of have to kind of work it around a bit, otherwise it goes on too thick and it just looks a bit bleh. And it doesn't hurt to go back over areas you've already done, just to make sure that you cover everything. Because at this stage you don't really want any bare metal showing through. Right, tweezers. Tweezers are useful to hold down one end of the part without getting paint all over your fingers. Right, so that's got a good general coat of it on there. It's drying pretty quickly, so we'll give it a few minutes to dry and then flip it over and do the edges and the back. Okay, I've flipped it over and just going to do the back now. Basically the same as doing the front. This is the other thing with the MIG paint, it does dry pretty quickly, but it also dries pretty quickly in my little palette, that you can't use it straight out the bottle like you can with Tamiya paint, for example, because you can't get the brush in the bottle. So you have to put it in a palette, and especially in hot weather like this, it does go off pretty quickly. But I'm not using much of it, so it doesn't really matter. There, so that's got a good coat of brown on it on both sides now. A couple of bits I missed there, but so don't really want to worry too much about the back. You're hardly going to see it because it's going to be bolted to the jaw, so I'm just going to do this stage on the back and then I'm going to leave that, and then I'm not going to worry about doing all of the washing and powders and stuff like that on the back face because you never see it. So give that a couple of minutes to dry off. I'll flip it over and do some weathering on the front. Okay, so we've got a good coat of chipping rust paint on there now. So now it's time to start putting the washes and powders and stuff on. So the first wash we're going to use is Track Wash, which is a really dark rusty brown colour. It's a good idea to have some thinners on standby as well. I usually just put a little bit of thinners in a lid and have it nearby. I'm going to use a fairly big brush for this, so I'm going to use a number 4 flat brush. But yeah, it depends on the size of the part really. And you always want to brush it in the direction of wherever down is going to be on the model, because rust would form by running water running down the part. So you should have it in, if it's going to be in streaks, which brush marks usually equal streaks. And then a bit of thinners. That'll do two things. First off, it will smooth it out a bit and make sure that the brush marks are all basically going top to bottom. And also, you can probably just about see there, it's starting to soften up the paint underneath, which is making it come away from the corners slightly, which I kind of found out by accident, but it does work quite well, because then it looks like it's scratched through to the bare metal underneath, which is rather neat. That's starting to look pretty good. You can see along the top there it's taken it back to bare metal in places, and around this hole it's done it as well, and a bit there, a bit around that hole. There we are. So that's the Trax wash. I'll leave that to dry for a little while, but before it completely dries, I'm going to come in with the Track Rust and the Medium Rust powders and stipple a bunch of that into it to give it a bit of texture and to sort of vary the colour slightly on the surface. Right, the Track Rust wash is now dry, or relatively dry, so the next step is to put some Track Rust powder on, which I'm using this one, and I'm going to use one of these brushes with the very, very short stumpy bristles. This is a number 4 pigment brush from MIG. So just give it a good sort of going over with this stuff. This will do a couple of things. It'll give it a bit of variation in colour, and also it'll make it a little bit more textured. You just want to sort of semi-randomly apply it over most of the part. Right, and then get the old toothbrush and brush it vertically like that. That'll get rid of any of the excess powder. You can see it's made a bit of a difference. It's a bit more matte, and it's got a bit of a sort of mottled look to it now. So now we're going to do the same with medium rust pigment. So just a little bit of this here and there. That'll do. And again, just sort of get rid of the excess with the toothbrush. On to the next stage, which is more washes. So first off is streaking rust. So around these bolt holes, the rust would sort of come down from there. So that's the top, that's the bottom, so it would come in this direction. And also from these damaged areas along the top here, it would run down as well. So I'll start with here. Now you can barely see it once it's actually gone off. Like there, for example, you can hardly see it at all. So sometimes worth going in and putting a bit more on once it's actually dried. So you get more of an effect. And like in the middle there, that one, it looks kind of a bit blobby around the edges. So I'm going to go in with a bit of enamel thinners and just sort of tidy it up a bit. But not tidy it up. Sort of get rid of the blobby edges. There, that's not looking too bad. It's quite a sort of subtle effect, that one. The light rust we're going to put on in a minute is a lot more bright orange. So, well, not bright orange, but it's brighter. So it's more visible. But again, it's like with the two rust pigments, you don't really want to use too much of it. Sometimes with weathering, less is more. In fact, quite a lot of the time with weathering, less is more. Bit of light rust. So again, I'm going to flood the bottom of these holes with light rust, because rainwater would just sort of sit in there and make everything rust. But I'm going to vary the amount that I'll put in there. And then run a bit of light rust down here. So it's got a bit of damage across the top there, a bit there which is gone a bit rusty. There's a scratch there in the middle which I'll put some rust down, rust from all the bolt holes, rust in the bolt holes, a bit on the top corner there. So yeah, I'll just get the other one in. I mean, they don't have to look the same, in fact it's better if they don't. And there you go. Looking pretty good. there you go. That's my quick and easy way of making stuff look rusty. These parts are made of steel, so as I use the grab, the paint will wear off on all the edges and stuff and start looking pretty good, I reckon. So yeah, this is the first of my how-to guide type videos that I've done. If you like this kind of video and you want me to try and cover another subject, let me know, and if I know how to do it, I'll do a video about it. So I shall see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Thank you for watching my video. If you like what I do here, please subscribe to my channel. There are also some more videos for you to watch on screen, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.